Wendy with the Kraal, and you're watching another episode of Chop and Talk. Now, before I even introduce the topic, I have two lovely guests with me, and I'll let them tell you guys who they are.
Hi, I'm Simone Small. I am a Toronto native. I founded the Monee Society of Africana Heritage and Culture. Check us out at asahc.org.
Hey, my name is Gerrit. I'm on Kraal. I'm a co-founder of Ghana to the World. I'm a co-founder of Motherland Studios. You can check us out at GhanaToTheWorld.com. Ghana to the World short film is coming out 2019. Look out for that.
Lovely. So, as you all know, this is Chop and Talk. So we're gonna talk a little bit about what we ate today, cause
Food.
Yo, what you guys think?
First of all, I didn't know Ivorian food was like up there. You know,
oh, yeah?
I'm from Ghana, so you know we have the best food and all that.
Ooh.
So I don't really pay attention to other like
cuisines in the continent like that.
Yeah, shout out to the Kraal and Yonnie for hooking us up today.
Yeah,
our food was amazing.
Yeah, check it was lit.
Listen, achike is life, okay? If you like cassava, if you like couscous, you need to eat some achike.
Yeah.
It'll change your life.
What about the plantains,
the
ribs, the chicken?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
10 over 10.
10 out of 10. Our chef, who wants to remain nameless, you know you need to give me that recipe, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Well, guys, we're going to get into it. So, the topic for today is Black culture sells. Now, guys, when you hear that, what do you guys think?
I think, yes, it does.
I think melanin.
Melanin.
Hey.
Wow. Okay. So, with those answers, how do you guys feel like designers, music, labels, they specifically use Black elements, Black cultural elements for financial gain?
Of course. I think when it comes to pop culture and commercial culture in general, the majority of it is Black culture. Whether it's from the United States, a majority of it is Black American culture from the United States. And as we've seen lately, a lot of continental African culture, as well as Caribbean culture, Jamaican culture, would be reggae music or our aesthetic. It sells. I mean, we're popping. We're what makes things popping. Period. Across the board. Fashion, music, all things.
I think pop culture is really inspired by African American culture, which is Black culture. That is not the same, right?
We're all coincide because essentially we're all Africans.
But I think pop culture is really inspired by Black culture. They take our whole aesthetic and they capitalize off of it. We've seen, I'm not going to mention any brands, but we've seen the past few years how, from our models, from our looks, from our heritage, which is Africa, how they like capitalize off our looks. So I really think they're inspired by our culture, and they have the power. Like they are the forefront of the world. So like they take our culture and kind of run with it. So yeah, I definitely think they're inspired by our culture.
Absolutely. I feel like this wasn't part of the question, but you said something about they have power. Can we tap into that a little bit? Because
when I say power, I mean confidence. I mean money. I mean the main like fashion houses, for an example, like the main fashion houses, like they have the power. Like they're controlling the fashion shows in the fashion world. So we as Black people, we're not really in power right now in terms of like showcasing ourselves, but they are. They've been in power for a while now. So when I say they have power, I mean they have the resources to showcase their stuff with us in mind, if that makes sense.
I think, what are your thoughts? Because I'm going to ask a question that I think relates to that.
Like with the fashion industry?
With the power in general, yeah, because, yeah.
I mean, I think I think in the world, in a commercial world, which we live in, money and resources do equal power, and you know, whoever is in power always needs something to market to the masses, right? Because you need something to sell, because our world is built on commerce. And yeah, usually what's being sold is Black culture, whether it's from America, Black American culture, or it's from the continent, or it's from elsewhere. We make things poppin'. We're the ones that like put flavor into things and popularize it underground before it comes into the mainstream.
Add salt.
And add salt. We the salt bays of the world. And unfortunately, other demographics are the ones that tend to benefit, capitalize off of our aesthetic and our creations.
Okay, so do you think representation matters then?
Yes, I do think representation matters, but I think more than representation, which is like, you know, having a Black face presented in marketing, etc. I think ownership matters. Even more than representation matters.
Absolutely,
So,
yeah, I think I definitely agree with that, because when you guys are talking, it's like, what's the point if we have a Black model, we have the Black actress, but at the end of the day, the money benefits someone else.
Exactly.
Okay, so going into that further, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Dapper Dan and the collaboration that they did. Now he's working with Gucci, of course, and Virgil Abloh with the Louis Vuitton, and even Edward Info, and British Vogue. What are your thoughts on that concerning Black culture stuff?
I feel like that's the 2% that we have. That's the 2% that they've given us to like kind of inspire us, or kind of still like use our aesthetic to, you know, to present their stuff and their like ideas. Because Dapper Dan has been designing since the 80s. Dapper Dan, everybody in Harlem and most Black people in America know of Dapper Dan. Because back then, like in the like when hip hop was rising, Dapper Dan was the man to go to get your, you know, your shit popping. So, I mean, it was late of Gucci to finally.
And it was even through a whole different system. Like if they didn't get caught by the social media, would they? Right.
So I feel like with people like Virgil, I mean, shout out to Kanye West. Virgil graduated from the Kanye West University, whatever you want to call it. I feel like those guys are the 2% that they're finally, well, you know, they're like, you know what, let's give them a chance. Let's give them a chance to, because they've been knocking on the doors for how many years. So Dapper Dan, Virgil, Edward, and Info, these guys are not guys. I mean, not to. For somebody like Edward and Info has been working for Vogue for about, say, 20 years since the 80s.
He's been in the business for a while,
So I feel like these guys, like there's so many new guys who are putting in the same amount of work they put in, but they will never get acknowledged, you know. So I feel like, you know, they're the faces that are used to represent Black people, but at the end of the day, how many Black people get the chance to showcase their stuff for New York Fashion Week? How many Black designers, you know, are being featured on like British Vogue? You know, like it's just a few people that like are gonna have that position, and it's not. I don't really see any growth or any like more Black people being put on after them. So I feel like they're just the 2% that we have. And I don't want to say they're being used as puppets, because you're not. But if you want to compare the amount of Black people versus white people in these industries, it doesn't make sense, you know? We're more excited because 3 people or less than 5 people, you know, are in these industries and are doing it so big, but like, do you know how many white people are like being represented in these industries? Like the balance, that like the ratio is very
off.
off.
Yeah.
You know, so at the end of the day, young black designers, I find they're inspired by like, do they see themselves in those positions in the next 5 to 10 years? I don't think so. Like I'm a designer myself. You know, I'm an up and coming designer. I definitely want to have my stuff shown all over the world. But do I really like relate with Virgil? Do I really relate with Edward? Do I really relate with Dapper Dan? I don't think so. I feel like they're just being used to, you know, to make us kind of quiet.
Yeah.
Just, you know, that's just my opinion at the end of the day.
That's deep. That's what do you think?
I mean, I think that okay, so
Yeah.
my thoughts run deep. I think that the establishment is still non-black. So
It is non-black.
I think that it's useless to complain about an establishment that wasn't built for us, right? So I think that yes, we may have a few black faces that are put up there, and it's like, oh, great, it's something to celebrate, and it is something to celebrate. However, I think that it's more important to establish an industry that is built, you know, by us for us, than it is to simply acknowledge headways that we make in an industry that historically never included us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you were saying, you know, we have these few figureheads that, you know, are accepted into these establishments, into these spaces that are historically non-black, non-African, but we give these industries flavor. And so my concern is less with who is letting us in and who is, you know, allowing us to have a platform versus why aren't we creating platforms for ourselves?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we're the ones that are giving us the shift labor. So it's like, why don't we create an industry of our own?
Yeah.
And, you know, why don't we celebrate our own?
Yeah.
Because even before we reach those stages where, like, we are held up on a pedestal like Vogue or you know, whatever it may be, we always bubble on an underground within ourselves. Like before the mainstream knew about a Virgil Abloh, I'm sure that people in his neighborhood, in his community, knew about Virgil Abloh. Before, you know, Vogue accepted a certain aesthetic, it was accepted among ourselves. So I think, like, even with film, like with Black Panther, and oh my God, it reached $1 billion. It's like, yeah, it was a film for us, and it's our dollar backing that $1 billion landmark. But it's like, why can't we just create a film within our industry and we put the money before it?
Right.
So I'm more concerned with the psychology behind why does it take somebody else validating our participation in something for us to then go say, okay, yeah, we made it. You know?
So we have to really represent ourselves
rather than within ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Going back to the, not to cut you, going back to the Dapper Dan issue, I also feel like pop culture right now is very like what's really making the world shake, or what's really making the industry shake is, if you look at hip hop right now, let's say the Migos, the whole trap culture from Atlanta, these guys talk about Gucci all day in their songs.
Right.
So obviously the Gucci industries are like, how can we get more black people to buy? So Dapper Dan, let's put Dapper Dan on. Let's make it more exciting, you know? And then, so I feel like all this is very like programmed, and it's very like predicted. And it's not original. And I feel like if they should change the creative director of Gucci, a lot of stuff is going to change. You know, they're just paying attention to what we're talking about, and they're creating all these images for us to, you know, be excited about. So I'm not too impressed.
Yeah.
I'm not really impressed. Like, I'm happy for Dapper Dan because, you know, I'm pretty sure he's worked his whole life for this. But for an aspiring designer like me, I'm not that impressed, because at the end of the day, like she said, I'm not focused on their calendar. We should be more focused on creating platforms for ourselves to celebrate ourselves. So we don't have to look for validation from, you know, from whoever else. I feel like it all depends on self-confidence and knowing yourself, and you know, just having more vim to move, you know.
Absolutely. So we're getting back into it, and we're talking about Dapper Dan, Virgil Abloh, and Edward Info, and how they've been practically, you know, elevated in the positions, even though it's like white-based fashion industries. So the question is, what are your thoughts if they actually didn't go forward with accepting such positions, which are big positions, you know?
No, I think it's great that they accepted the positions. I think that I think anytime a black person is able to be in a position of power, it's an opportunity because they're able to put other people on. So it's great that they accepted the positions. I have no problem with the fact that they accepted that, but I still think that it's necessary for us to create our own platforms.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with what you said. I think it's gonna inspire a lot of black creatives, and it's gonna spark the ideas of, you know, creativity from Africa, because a black kid like myself, I used to, you know, I grew up in Accra, I grew up in Ghana, so I have friends who dress like me, talk like me, think like me, so I know they're inspired and they're gonna go 10 times harder this year. So I think it's a great thing that they accepted those positions, and like she said, what's missing right now is our own platform where we don't seek validation from nobody.
Yeah.
That's what's missing right now. So I think
that's perfect, actually, because I'm gonna slide through with the issue about recently Naomi Campbell. You know, it's been on the gram, like the whole idea of Vogue Africa. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
First of all, Vogue needs to go. Like, we don't need Vogue anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Donald Glover has his own show on FX called Atlanta. Like the whole vibe is shifting. The whole narrative is shifting. You know, Vogue, they've been doing a good job for so many years, but I think Motherland Studios, which I'm a part of, is going to probably replace Vogue in a few years. I'm very confident.
Watch out.
But we do need more black businesses, more black-owned businesses. Like, I respect business. I respect entrepreneurs like Quality Control Music, which is they direct the Migos. They just started managing Cardi B as well. They're doing a good job with the industry because they're looking out for us, and I feel like such positions like Quality Control, Motherland Studios, all these black-owned businesses is what we need. We need our own platforms where we don't have to worry about Vogue, because when Vogue Africa is established, that means we still have to report to somebody. You know, we still have to report to a non-black person. And how many years is this going to be going on for? It has to come to a stop. So I think it's a good idea that Naomi Campbell suggested, but at the end of the day, do we need Vogue to come into Africa to document our creativity? I don't think so. I don't think they know Africa as much as we do. So what about we creating our own platform and putting our people on, and then they can come into our continent and, you know, pay us money and take, you know, content out of our continent, if I'm making sense.
Business.
Okay, I'm distracted. Can we just shout out to your do-rag, because you had a wardrobe change, and who made your do-rag?
Shout out to Oh Yeah Shea Butter.
Yeah.
Oh Yeah Shea Butter.
Yeah.
Thanks for the African prints.
African print
Do-rag.
do-rags.
This is very important for the culture. Next season, I'm coming out with my own kente do-rag. We need this,
Kente,
man.
you doing kente?
Yeah, I'm doing kente. Yeah. So we got a competition. Oh yeah, Shea Butter, man. I'm coming. Yeah, this is very important.
Alright, I was just like, oh, we got the end card.
Switch up.
We got the Tenge end card happening right now. But yeah, I agree with you with Naomi Campbell and this whole Africa Vogue thing. I mean, Africa Vogue is a concept that, you know, as far as I know, was originated by a photographer named Mario Pena, and he's been pushing that for like years, and I'm quite sure that he approached Condé Nast about the idea and they turned him down. So likewise, I just feel like, why Vogue? Like, why do we need Condé Nast to come into the continent to give us validation? We can do the same thing. Essentially, it's a magazine that promotes fashion. We can do that. It doesn't have to be under the Vogue label. Yes, Vogue is a name that's established that people know, and that's great for marketing and marketability. However, we can build something of our own that is African owned, that does the exact same thing, and that is intrinsically better at doing it because it would be overseen and run by African people. So
Absolutely.
I mean, shout out to Naomi Campbell because she just, I don't know what she got going on with Skepta, but I know my Nigerian boy is doing something good. She went to Nigeria recently. Shout out to Skepta. You also got a chieftaincy in Nigeria. See, that's such a big thing. People don't understand how big that is. Skepta graduated from Grime in the UK, and he said, man, fuck all this industry shit. Went back home to Nigeria, you know, got a chieftaincy title. That's such a huge, like, every African know how much of a pressure it is to be a chief in like Africa. So for him to be who he is and to be a chief, I feel like he's doing that to inspire more Africans. Like, yo, this is the time. Let's black-owned business, entrepreneurs, you know, black-owned businesses. So, you know, the whole narrative is shifting, and I feel like every creative person like should be very aware of what's going on and capitalize off of it. You know, this is the time. We don't, you know, Black Panther came out this year. A whole lot of stuff is happening this year. So, you know, it's gonna be a great year for Black culture.
Winner the highest producer.
With all you have said, which is absolutely true, how can we fix this issue? How can we really own the Black dollar?
I mean, it takes Black people valuing their own culture and investing their dollars in Black-owned businesses and creating our own platforms. That's about it. I mean, it's very straightforward and very simple, although I'm sure very scary because people want to go with something that's already known, right? But I don't see any reason why we can't.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like she said it all. I feel like there should be more unity within Black people. There should be unity within African Americans and African people. You know, that disconnect of African Americans and African people are not the same, or they can't relate. You know, it's just programmed into our minds. So once we get rid of that mindset and we have more African Americans coming back home to Africa, or, you know, mingling with more African minds to create platforms, I feel like that's where we're missing. There's a disconnect between African Americans and African people. Like, it's just something that we have to realize that we need to change, and then try to unite. That's what Kwame Nkrumah was trying to do. Kwame Nkrumah was trying to unite the whole continent into like one body. But obviously the Western people saw that would be a threat onto them. So what did they do? They got rid of Kwame Nkrumah every mind that try to spark unity in Africa, they got, you know, they got eliminated. So what does that tell us? We need to unite. There's no unity between black people. Like you see that in America, you see that in Africa. I feel like that's the first step. And after that, we can, once we come together and accept that we're one people, it's not just Africa and America, it's just the Caribbean,
Melanesia.
Exactly. Everywhere. Everywhere.
Don't leave our Melanesians out.
I can't even afford it. So
I mean, we're all over the world. We're all over the world.
Exactly. We need to just come together like white people are together, and then, you know, get shit popping.
Yeah.
Really.
Get it popping. Let's get it popping.
Wow. Do you guys have any last minute thoughts about Black culture styles?
I mean, we all know that Black culture sells. Whether you're Black, whether you're not Black, you know that Black culture sells. Hip hop is worldwide. Reggae culture is worldwide. You know, dancehall culture, like
Afrobeats is like picking up so fast.
It's gonna be worldwide. You know, like
Afrobeats is a new hip hop.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a fact.
You know, this is a fact that is seen all over the place. Yeah. I just feel like in terms of ownership in industry is where we need to put our focus. It's not just about like who's flavoring popularity. It's also about who owns the businesses, who owns the capital, who owns the rights, and receives the royalties and receives the benefits from these things that are being spread all over the world. So
how can you guys challenge someone who's watching this to transform their thinking, even lifestyle?
I challenge whoever's watching right now, that idea you've been trying to start, call your homie up. Like, register that business, bro. What are you waiting for? It's 2018. Once you start that idea, your friend is gonna be inspired to do the same. Entrepreneurship is the new degree, really. Like, we just need to be more confident in ourselves and then put our ideas out. Because our ideas are out of this world. We're just not confident enough because we've been told that we're not good, you know, we're not good enough. But that's a lie. That's all programmed into our minds. Once we get rid of that and take that step to claim our ideas and claim that we're as powerful as everybody else, that's what's missing, you know. And school is not everything. School is cool. If you're going to school, that means you're okay with working for somebody. If you don't want to work for anybody, go ahead and register that business. You know, go ahead and take that step. You know, create that portfolio, and I challenge you, man. Yeah. You feel me?
Yeah, I second that. Like, you know, put something behind your ideas. Try, and if you fail, try again. That's all you can do. Don't be afraid. Just, you know, put your money where your mouth is. Yeah. Support if you don't have an entrepreneurial idea, if there's not any idea that you particularly want to put forward, put your money, put your investment, put your dollars behind another Black-owned business.
Yeah. Well, guys, you've heard it today from Chop and Talk, and I want to challenge you to just think about this. Don't just watch this and just, you know, go on with your life. Change something. Where are you shopping? Where's your money going, and how you invest in it? What business are you starting? What are you doing to really break this cycle and own the Black dollar? So again, this is Wendy with the Kraal, and I'll see you next time with another hot topic. Bye.